Covered in blood and gore as I grip tight of my sword. Amongst my view was the horde, an everlasting sore, a mass of flesh restored. A catacomb I once believed was my abode. For millennium untold, I took the blade and my soul was sold. Hundreds of flights in the staircase, hired by town folk, a temple of evil unknown. Gold gave me hope of finding those I've yet to rekindle, the symbol of my sigil. Slicing through the monstrous ranks, each minute must be put to waste. So I slay, I haste, another corpse laid to the concrete as the death becomes obsolete. Closer, my goal is complete, but among me was another being. Its form rotting in my line, it was incomplete. Its cries mortified, its pride and fear through the cries was signified. For its meaning to absorb and take the flesh of innocence, leaving it more than alive. Hence its death becomes justified as I slice and dice through its divine design to redefine the meaning of my own sign, for which yet I'm aligned, eating the flesh of what was bound to be a part of the village. I took my sword, valiant thought, plunged it deep into the thing's core, piercing the heart. For the astral plane needed its spawn, its presence in reality simply foregone. Sheathed and taken by the bliss of the hunt, I fell on a knee as I woke up in the nearest rundown hut. Wounds tindered and gold obtained, the sigil was still stained. But for some reason, even after years of the hunt, that creature wasn't the same. Its name only spoken in the tongue of an ancient dead race. For how was I to skip this vital case? The catacomb was misplaced, its presence wasn't fate, but a breach of the Carovian gate. The soul escaped. The soul escaped. Covered in blood and gore as I grip tight of my sword. Amongst my view was the horde, an everlasting sore, a mass of flesh restored. A catacomb I once believed was my abode. For millennium untold, I took the blade and my soul was sold. Hundreds of flights in the staircase, hired by town folk, a temple of evil unknown. Gold gave me hope of finding those I've yet to rekindle, the symbol of my sigil. Slicing through the monstrous ranks, each minute must be put to waste. So I slay, I haste, another corpse laid to the concrete as the death becomes obsolete. Closer, my goal is complete, but among me was another being. Its form rotted in my line, it was incomplete. Its cries mortified, its pride and fear through the cries was signified. For its meaning to absorb and take the flesh of innocence, leaving it more than alive. Hence its death becomes justified as I slice and dice through its divine design to redefine the meaning of my own sign, which yet I'm aligned, eating the flesh of what was bound to be a part of the village. I took my sword, valiant thought, plunged it deep into the thing's core, piercing the heart. For the astral plane needed its spawn, its presence in reality simply foregone. Sheathed and taken by the bliss of the hunt, I fell on a knee as I woke up in the nearest rundown hut. Wounds tindered and gold obtained, the sigil was still stained. But for some reason, even after years of the hunt, that creature wasn't the same. Its name only spoken in the tongue of an ancient dead race. For how was I to skip this vital case? The catacomb was misplaced, its presence wasn't fate, but a breach of the Carovian gate. The soul escaped. The soul escaped.
From visionaries to seers, the warnings are coming together like the pieces of a terrible puzzle. Many are listening to these warnings, and more are preparing. But no prophecy is without hope. For almost every prediction of disaster and destruction comes the promise of renewal and rebirth. And ultimately, we are the creators of our own future by the choices we exercise today. We, you and I, are the masters of our destiny.
Orion began to separate and eviscerate as Bellatrix turned red and the other stars fell dead. An old drifting farmer watched as the blood-red star took its descent, and all he knew it was unnatural. All he could think of was repent. But something was on his mind, the bodies he left behind, the sacrifices he made. On his knees he knew it would suffice. It was this moment where his offerings had merit. So he made his way towards his bloody shrine of a goblet of wine to lift his spirit. Skulls, bones piled to belt height, a rusty old blade in the sinner from when he was a knight. Kylem Extensum he uttered from his lips as he took a sip from the blackened chalice, and thus a substance from the stars burned through the earth, a living weapon meant to create centuries of malice, a rebirth. The ground fashioned that of abysmal shade, but when this farmer gave his grace, it only made whatever was lurking below perturbed, causing his heart to race. He felt the world around him twist and turn as his eyes began to burn. A blackened wasteland formed from a race of ancients. For once he saw what lay behind the veil, In a brink of madness, he emptied the grail as his eyes failed and his mind assailed. Blood mixed with the bleak fluid, and it began to spread upon the land. Sentient yet unbelonging, this thing found its calling.
For many who have claimed the power of prophecy, their gift is not a matter of birthright. Instead, its appearance has been linked to some life-altering event.
Life-altering, force for the unfed, spent nights slaughtering hordes of the undead. War for the snake-like, covering the sun shed the past, spells get cast. Death in the flask is dispersed, I'm relentless with the task. Weapons to slash, regiments clash in the dark sector. Mystics hand me an all plus a large scepter. In a land of gothic architecture, marks a protector, my vengeance is crimson red. I'm perched on the window ledge while the city bled. Victims led to the gallows with a spirit shred. Execution of blade, off with his head. This is masterful, practice of the mystic arts, gifts supernatural. Daggers and hidden darts deep in the blizzard. Emerges the wizard marks. I enter realms and universes get ripped apart.
Whatever befalls the earth, befalls the people of the earth. Man did not weave the web of life, he is merely a strand in it. Whatever he does to the web, he does to himself.
Orion began to separate, eviscerate as Bellatrix turned red and the other stars fell dead. An old drifting farmer watched as the blood-red star took its descent, and all he knew it was unnatural. All he could think of was repent, but something was on his mind, the bodies he left behind, the sacrifices he made. On his knees he knew it would suffice. It was this moment where his offerings had merit, so he made his way towards his bloody shrine of a goblet of wine to lift his spirit. Skulls, bones piled to belt height, a rusty old blade in the center from when he was a knight. Kylemex descensum he uttered from his lips as he took a sip from the blackened chalice, and thus a substance from the stars burned through the earth, a living weapon meant to create centuries of malice, a rebirth. The ground fashioned that of abysmal shade, but when this farmer gave his grace, it only made whatever was lurking below perturbed, causing his heart to race. He felt the world around him twist and turn, and his eyes began to burn. A blackened wasteland formed from a race of ancients. For once he saw what lay behind the veil. In a brink of madness he emptied the grail as his eyes failed and his mind assailed. Blood mixed with the bleak fluid, and it began to spread upon the land. Sentient yet unbelonging, this thing found its calling.
Life-altering, force for the unfed, spent nights slaughtering hordes of the undead. War for the snake-like, covering the sun shed the past, spells get cast. Death in the flask is dispersed, I'm relentless with the task. Weapons to slash, regiments clash in the dark sector. Mystics hand me an all plus a large scepter. In a land of gothic architecture, marks a protector, my vengeance is crimson red. I'm perched on the window ledge while the city bled. Victims led to the gallows with a spirit shred. Execution of blade, off with his head. This is masterful, practice of the mystic arts, gifts supernatural. Daggers and hidden darts deep in the blizzard. Emerges the wizard marks. I enter realms and universes get ripped apart.
Slithering upon a sanctuary, a blank query of a state of dreary, a sorcerer laid his staff into the muddy ground, taking a crystal and crushing and making a muddled sound. The aureole vibration silenced the dark cave, causing a fixture, collapsing the wicker as a figure rose from another plane. Its arms were tendrils, its face unnamed, and its body covered with bloodshot eyes, inane. Blinking as if each individual pupil was thinking, it seemed as if it was in pain. But the wizard in the back, he just laughed, lifting his dark gaze. Now my bidding is yours to obtain, do as I say, for you're a god no more. The thing began to scream as electric chains raised and grazed upon its lane. The thing tried to make its escape, but this sorcerer had other ambitions to reshape the landscape. Channeling an old spell from a forgotten world, he opened the chest and let Pandora swirl, causing a fluxure right upon the world. His malign vision was the truth to his living. Years passed as he studied the dark arts, convoluted art of maleficent dedication without gratification nor selection. It acted upon its own terms. The sorcerer was just the bearer of an old forgotten curse. The reckoning began as the old being let out a chant, tendrils multiplying, spreading like the vines of some carnivorous plant. The cave screeched in pain as this undoing was never meant to be in vain. The old warlock, delight in his eyes, lies in his guise, cold agonized. He soon knew he had to face his demise. this thing wasn't ordinary. Once it chose to grow in size, the old man knew it wouldn't stop, as everything seemed in his control. The being had no care, so it just kept growing as it swallowed his soul. The cave was erased from our mental plane. The cabin was gone as it never existed. It was only a blank state. The being then slid upon the other in search of its home, ravaging worlds, crushing planets, all alone. Its purpose unknown, but its will unrenowned. It was summoned from another dimension, a vortex where its kind lived in harmony, an embryo that would grow to become something more, a dark curiosity of knowledge but with no philosophy. In a silent gust of spacey imminence, the old god stopped its journey after a millennium. It realized the dark warlock contorted his world with the sins of his race and the dark arts of another land. In this realization, the thing morphed into a giant sphere, releasing liquid from its eyes and tendrils. Suicidal in creation, a new race of beings were to soon be awakened. The sphere was submerged in black, and as years passed, it turned blue with a hint of green. Life was soon revealed in an empty world that being found. Evolution took over, thus was the case. This thing brought in the birth of the human race. In its image, we live in.
This is a piece of my own composing.
Blaq Masq. Virtual. Yeah. Blood fell from their wounds that they felt a new tide of life as if they were just exhumed. Energy consumed what was left of the corpses returned for their souls. Sentience resumed, their conscience remained untuned. No matter how hard they fought to subdue, their legion fused to renew a new shell, cocooned for centuries upon a distant vision of hell. Its quest to imbue its brood into ourselves through the wounds of our spirit and mind. Doomed, as it would seem, but our frame improved of no bind. More power of this new design. The lower denizens of Karavia felt the need to co-sign, regardless of the signs. Tendrils, blades, eyes in places they shouldn't be. It was nothing an axe couldn't cleave. It was up to me, leaving the plains clean, but to know inside I brought this shit to them. A stain on the way, stuck in the tubes like phlegm. Had to go further and find the stem of my own soul. It will be condemned. Unearthing this truth to find the root wasn't worth the loot. Years of labor and I get nothing but a rotten fruit. With an axe and sword I will dilute before its spawn can reproduce. Breaking the seal and giving it the boot, as my form remains sealed in this metal suit. Blackened and latching, corrupted and maddened. They won't stop attacking, clawing and hacking, slain on rapid, cruising the rabbit. Thousands unimagined through the visor of full metal jacket. How could this happen? As the souls ate fake, contorted by the slave mind was tasked to kill. An everlasting torment as this new state left my physical form ill. No longer human, I observed as the realm burned. My own mission was to appease the four. This side my armor bore, Stygian at the core, unable to restore. Nothing will be as before, the signs were ignored and now a war. Even with decadence I refuse reverence of the blood of assailants. I'll create a new exodus, ruined like Persepolis, a rebel into 7 heads. A kingdom of prevalence of palace where the heads of gods are impaled on a stake and displayed on a sign. A place where chaotic confusion is slain on sight. A place where evil has a different face, a new design, violent essence as it teeters away in presence. Eating away at the source, my human form lessens. Metallic and warped metal flesh, my shrine. Their will expended through the vine, my blade in hand. Thus a new dawn begins, I will win, vile by design. Vile by design. And battered, the ritual flattered, the gods above, the ancient ones. It was time for a reawakening, a second coming of a prodigal son. The knife slid into my heart like butter as I spoke words in an archaic tongue I can barely utter. Blood fell from the sides of my lips, activating each hex with a stutter. As my life slipped away, my soul traversed past the physical plane, projecting upon the earth as I watched as my corpse was given new life, new rights and sights. It slowly rose up, possessed by a prehistoric being, something that existed before the Mesozoic scene, when something else reigned supreme, transcending the Big Bang. For whatever it was, it took my physical form as it was newly born amidst a world ravaged by my kind. Home Homo sapiens proved inefficient. They chose extinction as their only volition. But the old being chose life, a new life. Humanity couldn't preserve what its kind created, so it relied on the basis of a god's relation. War fused with the polluted spoils of our rain, raining blood and acid, creating a stain. Unclean this planet was, and our only hope was a rebirth. As my body walked forward, its only mission was to take back Earth. Frustrated at our sight, limbs conjured from its back resembling arachnid appendages with an obsidian finish. Blood glazed upon the forest fauna, what was once my physical form. Its eyes burned with white energy trailing forth. As a collective, we lacked the conscious, we lacked gnosis, reliant on things which only held us back. Its time was overdue, after giving us more than one chance. A new leader, a new king, a new god, a new being. Gaia had one last breath, and with it its former glory. Its race would arrive back from the stars, where they held dominion across the cosmos. Each civilian an experiment, but this one a compost. I gazed upon the earth rebuild as my people were slain one by one and used in the most sadistic and horrid ways. A race built off experimentation with justification met roots once more to determine the next human equation. Enslaved and distorted biogenetic code, their path was clear for the next 1,000 years to transcend the mind and soul. My fate was to watch, and madness filled my heart, but for once I realized this was their own twisted art.
Listen now of a time long past, when sorcery thrived, and wild adventure was forever in the offing. A deadly sorcerer is called out of nightmare, driven into evil.
Phasing through the beat with a fleet of iron sheiks and a berserker army that cannot deplete. I'm the one they called false, the idol that detects faults. I'm the fucker who'll scarf for bath salts, find a chicken through the waltz. Throw 'em at me, your homies, your bitches, your crew, your fleet. I'll stand in kumite no kamai, drawing a kunai. I incite, say goodnight and go off to find me something to eat. Hell, bring an army, let's start a tourney. I don't give a fuck what you do, but give me something to fuse metallic hands to a skull so I can kick it around into an metallic sand, an ashy residue, and let Gaia take and throw off into the wind as it spread all over the continents and lands, dissolving into a molecule and then into nothing of interest, even unseen by a monocle. Bring me death, a raving combo of rights and lefts. I'll parry that shit and twist you into a mangled mess, turn you upside down, inside out, for revenge you'll sout, but I'll still slice you up like trout. The words are like sorcery, but I'll still punch a sorcerer in the mouth. Tank his magic, show him what's savage, and rush the next MC trying to speak all loud. Known to be abrasive with nothing but sound, yet relax like a yogi with knowledge found. I'm the vice versa you can't verse with, I'm everything and nothing. The clean to the bloody, the beat to the MC, the board to the mic and the mage to the knight, the blade to the sword and the axe to the horde. I'm that fucker with the buttery slickness, dripping wet, still taking out bitches with the quickness. Throw him into a blurry slate, virtual, he ain't never late. He makes his own time, he'll take an L and still be considered sublime. Used to living with a wrench in the system, breaks molds, not even trying to be missing. Fires poetry like a slug, ballistic, lyrics are having needing a plug for a clinic. Everything says like a fucking seance, cryptic, vicious, shit like Skynet, so don't let it grow bigger, or he'll display an array of unrelenting vigor. Bullets won't harm him, maybe disarm him, but as long as that mic in hand, y'all be in some other land. Chop you up with chops, grind you down to mush and shove you in a can. Kick you around like he's violent kin, throwing you into a silent whim. I'm the epitome of grace, a ninja in the bush, a samurai sword cutting through a lace in some opposer's face. Locking on missiles to give chase, that's the key to my living. Known to finesse, shining my blade, leaving a bitch all giddy. I'm the motherfucker with the iron fist that licks that kick and break wrists. My technique is shown in my rhymes, offbeat yet unorganized. Like a puzzle, already got you compromised. Keep your hands up or I'ma smash it back into fine wine. Best stay in line as I compose this next composition, crushing your soldiers with attrition until they realize there's no point of opposition. A being of unrelenting volition, elevation, his only mission. His name only spoken in superstition, a metallic apparition with a volatile expression. Classes in session, I can care less about your music, just the music that keeps me grounded, yet moving as I founded the mechanical beam spewing from my tongue that melts the hearts of various warriors of many factions. The difference, I take action like 000, always in a move, smoothly I pursue The strongest of the strong in the storm I belong. My blade, it determines right from wrong. Tools are meant for my advantage as I ravage the world like a savage. The dirt beneath your feet where the remains of ancient warlords cross and crevice the ripe world of our kind. And energy shall be harnessed like Merlin's staff divine as I leave nothing but dead MC carcasses behind. Yo, forget your act. Sack the city with an iron fist like a game of chess. The mic I caress, wielding it like Excalibur with tongues breaking through skulls like a 44 caliber. Lyrical inquisition executed with pristine precision. A metallic master, don't give a fuck if you rhyme faster. I can boil words up like samovar, make a nice tea for my posse, cut through the vascular. You won't get far, despite the grit, I manage to be quite cavalier as I graciously massacre the goblins hatching from your whiny little mouth you call lyrics. You ain't even got the spirit. This game is only for the warriors, knights, barbarians, devils, samurai, warlords, or whatever the fuck that actually has the merit.
Beyond what the eye can see and the mind can grasp, a war is raging.
The elements failed to be aligned. Fire was raging above the creature. He kept us in a bind. Its wings soared across the skies. The majority of our population began to die. It dropped meteorites as a part of its demonic flight. I knew in my head things would change, turning what we knew into dust. Of course, it was a lack of trust. Everything around me burned as the blood began to turn. Something was off, but nothing was wrong, as it was an act of fate. A veil so blackened, convoluted the rouge. Desire morphed into morbid curiosities. It seeped the ferocity, it lacked the velocity. But the Godhead, he played its part. Painted our distorted figure as if it were art. We had no control, grasped our soul, collided two worlds together, reality now astral. A different plane of existence, none of us could fin that persistence, but we had to fight and create resistance. Others raised their weapons, I raised my spirit, knowing to become what they were was the path, for I didn't fear it. However, when the curtains came to a close, I kept my move, pursuing something else, something malevolent, a more lasting form of beguilement. A simulated realm free of fixation, expression imperfect yet perfect. The opposite of delicate, but with a sense of etiquette. Some call it arrogant, but to me it was elegance. A newly conceived form of biological development, an apex concerning the four elements, ancient knowledge, a column like exigent. Words are my only requisite, coming from the blackened heart to show exquisite. Though destructive, it was quite exquisite. Livid, ravishing of norms, a variety of endless forms. I'm only one, but expect to swarm. Thus the swarm it was, my skin separated like particles of dust, creating a cloud of blood, dried up but engraved on wood, an esoteric semblance of cravings unknown. My projected image became the only one known, a symbol that resembled the lively mass of flesh, an endless throw of limbs in excess. I gazed at what I've done, knowing from here my very being would be shunned of what I've become, demonic in nature, unloved. Through a new spiritual state, my mind was arrayed, but as I traversed this new plane, I knew there was more knowledge to be drained, so I shifted through worlds, unimaginable lands where my mere presence causes strain. Through one look beyond time, and it occurred I haven't seen the grain, but there were more in the same vein, untouched by the multi-tentacle claw of humanity, for they still possess sanity. Their will was weak with atrophy, as mine, blessed of alchemy. Endured, ensured my wisdom was secured. I began to dabble in these worlds. I soon realized the only satisfaction was the law of attraction. These beings untouched, my reign begun. The warp chose a new avatar as their old ones fell weak. The future seemed bleak. It was nothing but a scathing whisk of cosmic dominion that I meant to seek. This new form, consumption was survival. A new warp was forged, and thus was my arrival. Crimson drip from the lip, a new sun rising as the first sun took a sip. A chalice of souls, an aura so cold, a perfect mold. He rose like Deus Ex Machina. He wielded more might than Tsushima. Metal emitting smoke, giving emphysema. Connected to the universe, the metal dome was his church. Its words and actions and verses that attack. Perhaps it were the tactics. Wide up to the wall, no mind of birth or how it's unearthed. Created, mutated, belated, reawakened. Not even I can inform it. All I know is that the shell is forsaken. Multiple dimensions, elections of various convections, sectors of brooding vectors and sections. I seen them all, horrors beyond belief. Nothing that can crush my metallic skin beneath. To some it's a relief. Join me, take a ride on the mechanized steed if you trust the machine. Hop in the chariot, it's scary. Instead, I'd advise making escape in a route like Harriet. Under my divine rule, you'll dwindle, becoming the proletariat. Now just rekindle and fall in lust. Not with you, but with your fear. I feed from it all. Soul stealer, soul reaver. Call me Elric, chopping bitches up, Stormbringer. World eater, eraser. Only guy's best. Manipulated her, put her to rest. Took roll, now we got his industry. Still low key, striding so blissfully. Call it headline news. No truce, no roost. Chilling in the throne room, feeling loose. Conceived through some temple. Something grotesque like a ritual. Virtuous to them than me. Rituals never end. I still got all y'all to fit. My rise, it was more like a sign. Conception, declaration, serenade you at the whirlpool of time. Throw on a pinch of thyme, the installation never ends until you hear that chime. Production gets filled with slime, brooding, sleuthing, shooting, always at the prime. You don't need a dollar nor a dime, malevolence pays. It's all in the paper, formulation from water vapor. He's a caped caper without the cape, just an audio tape that tends to change shape. A concept empirically, scarred and choppy, physically, but gorgeous, lyrically. Bow before you leave, say your prayers, don't let him get blurred. Through the web he cleaves, through souls he reaves. In a metal shell he believes in the power of power absolute. Scheming in his tower, creating serenades of deathly arrays. A manic death cloud to save the day. There's nothing in his way. Go ahead, try to leave the hall chained. Too bad, you're under his say. Preposterous, exclaimed. The world claims I break from the tomb like a knockerus. As far as raps are unlapsed, around imposters like I'm speaking hieroglyph. Echoing tone as if I grew horns and 7 heads whilst puffing a bliff. Yeah, skip, let the next track play before my presence possesses the next coward whom confesses that their weapons are connected with a chink in the crevice. As my words summoned beyond the vestige, yet remaining blessed. Thus the mic it was I inherit, selected to emerge from the heavens, to dethrone all whom stand in decadence. As my precedence exceeds arrogance and drops a megaton, making this crowd even that more evidence. Yeah, golden but worn, glistening but torn, a molecular monolith born, written in stone, forsworn to Pangea adjoined. No meddling as my exostructure ignores mediocre ravings of ultra drones. Zombified carcasses speaking, this is hot, well yo, this is whack. Each drop is for myself, yet I'm still wanna lapse while you relapse. No claps, it's a rap, yet I'm still relaxed. This shit ain't even on wax. Reviews? Nah, I am my laser eyes in your direction and go pew pew. No vibrato, offbeat, debatable, but I yawn as my artillery blasts you off your feet, making your homies run for keeps as they flee. 2 listens, that's fine by me. 2 chosen by the ancients to witness my decree. As it be, ABC, cause I gotta break it down for y'all sheep to see. Not hype enough weird, too scientific, I'm metaphysic and mythic. While y'all are stuck on a gimmick, I'm ascended, imperfect, melting scribe bended, uncontended, this shit reinvented. Fuck sales, I got a voice that sells. Keep your dollar, the mask will keep getting taller. Still providing wealth from the minds of scholars. No holler, conquering the stage after 6 loggers. With no chain, a sweaty old tank, dirty Adidas, broken specs and worn out joggers. Yeah. A maze for kings, my word proceeds. Elaborate theme beneath, complex, unseen to the naked eye. Fucking with the sight as the mind refuses to open its third eye. Poetic sorcery, knowledge long forgotten fused together like pottery. Each Mesopotamia camaraderie, syllables rapidly conjured from chakra, like winning the lottery. Sheesh, what an oddity. They say he'll take any old bitch out of an odyssey. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, drinks on me. Since you still don't get it, I wrote it, so don't expect it. A few more drinks and maybe you'll let it into your soul, possessing each brain cell, ringing a bell, telling you who's trill, or who's ill, or who's the illest with the pen still. Iniquity built. When you sleep, all you get is guilt as I tilt. Super combo finish, blood spill, ephemeral with purpose, flow, getting your whole crew killed. Killing with flow, mating with your hoes, fucking the spirit and dipping when they lack the will to hear it. So I steer it, bend it so they fear it. Styling metaphysically, can't handle him lyrically. Come back when you get clarity, risen from hell and now above. If you want mimicry, I'll surprise you with seniority. Aura spewing all sorts of energies. Keep acting shitty as I scientifically calculate. Write your fate, breaking it down to a molecular level as you revel in virtual laughs in the back of a handful of raps. Fuck that. Bound to these chains, inescapable fate. Buried and torn astray, the blood drips down my face as I take the key to find my own way out of this hive. A triangular vestige of no mind. I release this horror on the lands of no intention. A mistake that has me losing all form, sanity and convention. Malformed and maligned, this thing's eyes. It seemed weak in the heart, but to my knowledge I couldn't have foreseen this new twisted art. In the pocket of its mind, I am now aligned in the way of the darkness bred from its cries. I only witness a scythe taking my life as the world around me morphs into something more for its kind. Cutting down beasts is all I knew. I took the wrong hit and now my soul is forever strewn, unclean of chaotic gloom. And soon the universe will witness an evil bloom from the essence of man. Perhaps it will be of no alignment or stem, both mayhem, it must be condemned. I must be quick as my axe bleeds, corrupted by sentient being. My people must learn of this deed, as it will take more than me. An army made of 1,000 fleets, a gargantuan feat. But all that is left is for the axe to reap. The Karavian gate has been breached, and thus escapes the leech. A thing of cataclysmic distortion with no general form or proportion, basking in its contortion. The cruel mangling of the living treated as a fortune. The corruption bestows upon my bleeding blade, certain, and it takes the axe in hand to eventually take my soul, using it as an abode, revealing what lays behind the curtain. Another burden as my task revels in excursion to determine the fate of cosmos in my land, while space and time ripples in reverse and inversion. My axe, the only thing to lay down the balance, to divert the will of the human soul upon the wickedness, swinging the axe to give the enemy an assertive assertion. Blood will spill for certain. From a psalm to the palm, crush you into the soil so you can become fawn. These are my plans, you will foil, which is a spear ripping from the coil. Blood it will boil as my army remains loyal. The last you hear before you hit the ground, slay it by the sound, southbound with an aura that's loud. The flow ain't found, it's only learned, strong and crystalline, yet round but still soft like a cloud. Gritty and dense all around, pound for pound, light as a feather, covered with metal, and a hive mind with power renowned. The drop of a dime, let the bow sails rise, digitally taking facts unnaturally from reality, twisting and turning the flow I be churning. The wrong way I'm always steering, but it's all based on opinion. Depends on whom faces opposition in an analog synth warbear to raise up his dominion. Beneath the crease like a blade cutting up a leash, can you find it? Hidden beneath, take the strengths and sheath, turn your feet high powered through the veins, the words folded thrice, full tang, no malice as I accept the challenge. Wielding a mace, face to face, popping weed, become another league. Through your skin I see you cut off before you watch him tremble as you put them in a limbo. Alternating schism, slicing dice like your Jimbo. Exhumed in tomb, consume, resume your doom as I leave you cocoon. Beneath subsume, the caverns below unmoved, where Cerberus waits for any passenger who arrives disapproved. But go a little further down, you'll find the world of cybernetic beauty, a noon underground cave filled with wires and machinery unnamed. Chasm amidst the plasma curtain with eldritch engravings verbatim. A darkened lair, then a saddened gateway to another realm, warped into shaping, vapid and blackened in an army of mecha infused souls abandoned, waiting for the day to get branded. So once again they shall obey all of their commandments.
1,000 years ago, if you'd displeased the sheriff of Nottingham, you could have found yourself set in chains and taken to a fate worse than death, cast into the oubliette.
It was a bleak awakening, a demon in the shadows. Its eyes were pale like the light of the moon. Its skin was rough like a heavy armored suit. A cataclysmic ritualistic deed awoke that which we all shall heed, and thus a slaughter we don't need. Many will die, they will be hung at the gallows. The portly lord stated as a loud silence erupted upon the fields, which caused the horror of swallows. An ancient being has woke from his sleep. There was no escape in his wake. The cultist said as the sky tore red, as if God has just bled the tears of hope, taken from the gear, sustained by a rope. For now the wheel was stopped as reality bends through their interdimensional lens. From the distance there was a howling, more than one from beyond time, once a foundling, but now grown to full size, a creature, a being of ancient creation and cosmic mutation. But now a bloodbath shall become of the old town. Chaos ensues, for its influence will spread upon the earth and cause an eruption in our minds. Only the strong will survive and attempt to save a few. Humanity no more, we should have listened and followed our gut to the core. But still we chose to fondle of something bigger than us. It was the human desire, the lustful curiosity to uncover some inhuman atrocity. The cultists spoke in tongue at the hearing. The gods raised their blades and muskets, knowing only the worst was steering. As they spoke in some ancient tongue, they were the first to go, the first to be torn to shreds, the first to bleed, but with a smile on their face, a willing sacrifice for a god unheard of. The Lord trembled in terror as death commenced. The gods tried to fight, but only met their uproarious blight. The citizens tried to flee, but these things needed to feed. They needed to appease their god, the thing in the sky, with no purpose but to dream. The sacrifice of mankind would awaken him, and all will die, it seemed, as the town sunk into the ground beneath it began to breathe, creating a new world out of what we knew, indescribable and inducing of madness. No survivors, they were wiser, or fate planned from the dawn of civilization. Destiny, fate, causation. The field stained crimson as the sky rained blood. It was the Outer One's cosmic dominion. So it kept dreaming amongst the stars for centuries unwavering. And then it woke up and all was no more with a blink of an eye. And just like that, all was gone.
There's two options of getting into an oubliette. Either you was thrown in or lowered down by rope. And there's only one way out. That's if they lower the rope again and pull you out. You were basically forgotten, left to die.
Chaos is rising.
If it's divine, why ignore the signs while standing online, wasting time online, fighting to see, but your heart is blind. When I dream I fall, L-Storm done seen it all, got lit up like an Xbox, can't create hell, thinking heaven is your next stop. All state of mind, I stay true like crimes, infinite warfare, you really think war's fair? Temples tempted, so dejected, propaganda injected, L-Storm didn't expect it, well check it, virtual matrix in this matrix that may trip you up, they controller, with no controller. Helping hand in quicksand, quick fans make quick plans. My alternate heart drips like a gun jam on the cyanide bed. I'm a patient, zero patience. Out of appearance, solid gamer or an ancient. Growing so correct me, voice empty like text. Flip was repping while chasing checks. Didn't see my last text.
It watches from nothing, surrounding the iris. A zenith, a deity unleashing a virus, killing the unrighteous, drawing faith to the tip of its finger like a stylus, creating pestilence for belief and benevolence, thwarting the people to find resonance as it spreads its testament amongst the elements, a revenant of some archaic specimen, eminent in its aura, discontent, its more reverse nirvana, a veiled horror, immortal like opening Pandora, released by an air of death as it takes and destroys all that's left except those loyal to a certain creed, freed of the seeds that created unwind all which bleeds. The elite feed upon a mantle of greed, immune to its pleads, our kindness we twist and contort its realm. Mages of the MIC crushing terrain, hurling the blade sling. Virtual Masq and L3 kings, no sleep, mind crushing psyker, no bling, just ink through the pyre. Holy Trinity making fire like a choir of iron. Masq V and L only addressed as sire.
I studied day and night, learned of those unseen forces that hold this world together, learnt the secret ways of other worlds that exist beneath the surface and behind the mirrors.
There was peace before the fall. Now there's politicians shifting shapes with demons from beyond. Law is gone and men are pawns. Witches raise their wands against the wicked order in Amon. Spawn of Satan's lot, automated reign of vamps. Feast on blood and flesh of children kept in concentration camps. Artificial intelligent chips embedded in skin. Omniscient devil happily possess your skull if you let him in. And so you did, so did almost everyone. Mass suicides on cliff sides with women speaking tongues. A bleeding sun, the sky is red, disease runs amok. Breathe the dust and hush your tainted love with blades and fatal drugs. I wrote this script, it's written in the book of life. But this is death, swallowing the world whole. That's why it's ever night, you're burning from the light. This is the turning of the tides, atonement for the sins of man through pain and fire purified.
Beneath it all, it lays unseen and hidden, written of emotion, acting only on commotion like a wave approaching. Impossible, the Hawking warrior said as he drew his mace, relying on soul alone. Glaring down the armor knight, he pulled down the visor on his helm, annoying what lurks upon his own realm. The slayer lashed out with his axe as the mace ricocheted off his armor like flak. Like a shroud of darkness rising and falling, his weapon dropped its weight into the man's helm. 'Twas the price of stalling. Shattering steel, splintering skull before he can feel the truth was unseen. It was too divine, spiritual essence. It lessened over time, and now through corruption, this disease abides its climatic rise, a crescendo amongst the cosmic blight. And humankind couldn't foresee the signs, a great merge of dimensions. The human thought was fragile as it swirled through the world in sections, speaking tones of an unknown dialect. Civilization hadn't time to reflect, and saw but a judgment at hand. The slayer's warnings weren't heeded, till it laid beyond the veil. It was only human souls that were needed.
Unrestrained vengeance, infinite infliction, words crafted straight from the outer limits. Vile spirits manifesting apocalypse. Ain't stopping until we get some acknowledgement. Shatter your skull, then stomp on your spine with the force of a goat. Never approach these murky waters, triangulate coordinates and swarm upon ya. Suicidal mantra, shapeshift brainwaves flow hypnotic. High on the finest products, evil apostle, unholy father. This pain is my domain, no need to explain. It's obvious you a snake, slash your face. With this razor, ain't nothing changed once I'm angered.
Rage of the beast, I'm here to smash out of your teeth. From beneath the underground, I ain't feeling no grief. I'm the type to box uppercuts, better duck and weave left and right with the 1-2, making your body leak. Welcome to my path to torture, and follow me in the shadows. Rid of the black with shots, yeah, I'm from the dirty meadows. I spark flames and take aim, watch me beat my chest. A wolf and a gorilla, got the cipher laying down the wreck. Speaking in a regular form, way and beyond. Hear me creeping, you don't see me, no way to pull the alarm. My dog Blake glistening rusty, to let me call my name. Sworn double N, got intentions to take the whole blame. Spitting torture methods, hold a torch, I ain't wanna tame. They had me locked up for a minute, but now I'm out the cage. Right with aggression, splitting wings, swinging my arms, determination epic. I'm crushing the fucking fake facade.
Check, check. Yeah. Lord of the Bazaar, Arc sparks war. Hark the Quasar, film noir. Dark side Ishtar, the tar pit czar. Spray TNA like war. Carnage copious, odious ethereal opuses. Giant octopus ferociousness. Twist tentacles in an ocean mist. Flick tricks like swap wrists. Suction grip, microphone split, 6-shooter from the hip. Grave digger from the crypt. Flamethrower spits comets from the abyss. Bionic bazooka fist. Connected to adamantium nucleus. Mind stays studious. The mouth of Vesuvius. The killer Canucks swinging nunchucks. Hands like brass knucks. Alpha flight tongue touch. Hard as frozen pucks. Adjust the juxtaposition like definitive chucks. ESKR-ONE. Blaq.
Demons all inside my mind, torment my soul. Rip it to pieces, never been the same as before. Spitting that raw, uncut, peer up your nose. Never trust a bitch, so I'm trying to bang all these hoes. No morals, no remorse that I ever show. You can hate my guts, fuckers, but I got the flow. Can't deny my skills, rapping like drop all your rappers. Hollywood style, filthy always holding it down. It's the main event, I'm margin and I'm stealing the crowd. Still cheer to your face and the blood squirting down. The fans are going wild, never heard a thing this loud. This is my chance to take advantage so I can capture the belt. Cut your wrist with my name cause I'm here to stay. Work my way to the top in venomous ways. Made a deal with the devil to set myself free, to murder every motherfucking beat. Rage of the beast. Filth.
But yo, their purpose is shown in the vicarious fate they strown. A few centuries of fame, in eternal slumber they lay, cocooned hanging from underground cave where they're mutated and changed, torn in their gold chains and branded by the name. Mutilation, preservation, the beginning of a new creation. Now enshrined of obligation to bring about the uprising of a veiled and wired congregation, cornering the whole game with a sprinkle of desolation. Before taking the chaos blade, my soul was stained, plunged by Baldans as I treaded the crimson plain. To witness the rapture, I only sing a world of manufacture. I take the mic, mangling souls to be fractured. A raging night, a scribe forced to fight and break sights. A mage who took words and turned them into chaotic magic. A beast wielding the stratagems of 1,000 armies combined, spitting tongue of ancients, speak distorting and fucking the mind.